Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be going over the top storylines going into the Super Bowl, and we're going to be taking a look at them. Before we get started, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. That would really help my channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. That said, let's dive right into the video, and I hope you enjoy. So before we dive right in here quickly, I just was reading an article on Super Bowl storylines, and I thought I'd want to share it with you guys, some of my takes on it, and my reactions to some of the storylines in this article. So let's dive right into it here. The first one I want to talk about is really, as you can see, these are the storylines here, is really, let's just let this load for a second, the Chiefs' offensive line issues. That's the first one I want to talk about. So as you can see here, I mean, obviously Eric Fisher is not going to be able to play in this game here. Chiefs starting left tackle, he ended up getting a torn Achilles in the AFC Championship game. He will not be available for the Super Bowl. And I mean, the Chiefs have had offensive line troubles the entire season. They just haven't, lost their left tackle, right? Obviously, they started off the season without their starting guard and Duvernay Tardif. They brought in Kelechi Osemele. He got injured. So the Chiefs have had offensive line issues and troubles on that offensive line throughout the entire regular season. I mean, they've had injuries. They've had to shift around guys like Andrew Wiley, Mike Remmers. But at the end of the day, this Chiefs offensive line wasn't even that great in the Super Bowl last year, if you remember. I mean, if we really look back into the Super Bowl last season, where the Chiefs ended up beating the San Francisco 49ers, a big part of that game was the San Francisco 49ers' ability to get to the quarterback, the ability to rush the quarterback, ability to create pressure and be feisty on defense and just be annoying. And the Chiefs offensive line didn't really hold up that well. I mean, if we remember how Patrick Mahomes was able to march that team down the field, it's because he was taking like 10-step drops out of the pocket. So with that said, I mean, this is a big thing to watch, right? The Bucs defense is one of the better defenses in the entire NFL. They are really good at getting to the quarterback, as we saw in the game against the Packers, right? Where Shaq Barrett and JPP were just absolutely fantastic at getting to Aaron Rodgers. And this is something that you're going to need to watch. How are the Chiefs going to be able to cope without their starting left tackle, right? They're going to have to shift some stuff on the inside of the offensive line. They're going to have to shift at the left tackle position. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Chiefs can manage on the offensive side of the football. Next thing I want to talk about is the Bucs' home field advantage. Okay, so obviously the Bucs and the Chiefs are going to be playing in Tampa Bay for the Super Bowl, and this is interesting. It's the first time that a home team has played in the Super Bowl, right? Like where the game's being played, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I guess in a way, have an advantage, right? They got a home field game, but I mean, it's still gonna be a Super Bowl, right? It's not gonna like be their home state. It's like a whole thing, but nonetheless, I mean, this is gonna be very interesting. Obviously, first time that a team has had a home field game for the Super Bowl, and I don't know what that's gonna entail. What's that gonna mean? It's gonna definitely be something to watch. Obviously, of course, it has to be Tom Brady. Well, I mean, when we looked at this upcoming season back in August and July and June, we were like, Tom Brady's going to the Bucs. The Super Bowl's in Tampa Bay. What are the chances that he makes it to the Super Bowl and plays at home for the Tampa Bay Bucs? And then of course, this is 8-9 months down the road, and of course, this weekend he's going to go play for the Tampa Bay Bucs in the Super Bowl at home, and that's just absolutely fascinating. It's something to be it's gonna be one of those things that is gonna go down in history. It's not gonna happen a lot, right? I mean, this is Super Bowl 55, right? One time in 55 Super Bowls, and I think it'll probably get a little bit more common moving forward now that it's like the curse is broken in a way, I guess. But nonetheless, this is just fascinating to watch. Tom Brady playing at home in a Super Bowl. Even though Tom Brady has been to 9 Super Bowls already, not including this one that's going to be in Tampa Bay. None of them have been in New England. Obviously, New England's not a place that really hosts Super Bowls. It's cold in February. No one's going to want to go play a Super Bowl in February, right? Up in New England, just like no one's going to want to go play a Super Bowl in Lambeau in February. Like that's not going to happen. But in this case, I mean, Tom Brady, he's at home. It's just going to be something to watch. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on the game, but nonetheless, I just think it's something for the history book, something for the NFL fanatics later on down the road to really look back at and be like, hey, this was a pretty big moment. So I think this interesting storyline here is just something to watch out for. The next storyline I want to look at is new Dynasty question. So obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs look like a juggernaut right now. I mean, they've got Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, not to mention Patrick Mahomes. They re-signed Chris Jones last offseason. They've got Tyrann Mathieu in the back end. I mean, also they've got Andy Reid for the next like 10 years or something like that. I mean, this team is built to be a dynasty, right? It's going to be the next dynasty in the AFC. And what happens is that, now they're playing the former Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, obviously he had a huge dynasty in New England, and as soon as that dynasty ended, the Chiefs dynasty started. Obviously, 2 seasons ago, the Patriots ended up beating the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, went to the Super Bowl that season, and then the next season, the Chiefs came back, won out in the AFC, and then went to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl last season against the 49ers, and this is their second year back in the Super Bowl, back-to-back Super Bowls. Andy Reid is back at it again with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the talent they have on this roster is absolutely fantastic. If they win this year, if they beat the Bucs, then they are officially the next dynasty, and I think they already are the next dynasty. They've made 2 straight Super Bowls, right? They've been fantastic. I mean, if you look at their combined record in the past, if you look at their combined record in the past, 2 seasons, I mean, they've barely lost any games. It's just absolutely fascinating. I think what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do with Andy Reid and that offense there in Kansas City is going to be something that's going to be a juggernaut and something that's going to be scary to watch for the next 10 years, probably. I mean, I don't know if it's going to last all that long. Obviously, they're big players like Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. They're going to have to regress at some point, but Mahomes is still young. Andy Reid is still going to, be creative, and I think with the right quarterback, and they've got the right quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, if they can win this Super Bowl and then keep being competitive year in and year out, this is a real dynasty. This is resemblance of a New England Patriots type dynasty with a great coach, elite quarterback, great players across the field, and a team that can be revamped each year in and year out. Because as the salary cap's going to continue to expand, that Mahomes contract won't look as scary anymore. And then, I mean, in 5-10 years, that Mahomes contract is going to be an absolute steal because the level he's going to be playing at, it's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He's going to be being paid probably around an average quarterback in the NFL as the salary cap continues to rise and the best quarterbacks in the NFL get to be paid more and more. And although that Mahomes contract looks like an absolutely massive deal right now, and it is, right? It's 10 years, $500 million extension. But nonetheless, I mean, Mahomes is going to lead this team back to Super Bowls, and it's just, I think, fascinating that we see Mahomes play Brady, new dynasty versus old dynasty, and although it's not a dynasty with the Bucs, it's still Brady, and Brady is a dynasty in of himself. So with that said, I mean, it's just a fascinating storyline to watch, this new transcendence of a new dynasty in Kansas City. How can they continue to keep on winning and build a winning culture there when they've done a really good job at turning around that franchise? And the next storyline I want to look at is Tom Brady. Obviously, I have to talk about Tom Brady, right? Brady trying to get for 7 championships. 7 championships. I mean, this guy, when he plays in Super Bowl 55, will have played in 10 Super Bowls. 10 Super Bowls. That's a crazy number. You don't see that. To put that in perspective, the second most Super Bowl appearances of all time is 5. That's John Elway. Right now, Brady's at 9, not including Super Bowl 55. He's going to be at 10. Right now, he's 6 for 9. Can he get to 7 for 10? This guy doesn't lose in the big game. It's just that simple. I mean, and when he has lost, it's been, 2 of them were to Eli Manning. One of them was to Nick Foles, right? Those are his losses. Those are his losses. It's that simple. Will he lose to Mahomes and the Chiefs? I think that, he's typically done a very good job against other, great quarterbacks, if you look at throughout his career. But nonetheless, I mean, Brady is the guy when it comes to winning Super Bowls. Can he win 7? If you're putting your money on the quarterbacks in this game, I mean, it's just such an interesting thing. And I'll talk a little bit about it later with the quarterbacks and that storyline moving forward. But nonetheless, if we just look at Tom Brady for a second and we look at Patrick Mahomes, this is going to be a great, fantastic game. Obviously, Tom Brady, 7 championships, that's what he's going for. That's what's on the line. And making 10 Super Bowls at age 43 is unprecedented. You don't see that, right? So Brady going for 7 championships with the team he has, it's pretty much a Pro Bowl team with guys like Gronk and, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown. There's so much talent on this roster. If Brady can do it, if Brady can get to 7, I think right now, in my opinion, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, but this will make him the bona fide greatest quarterback of all time. So I think that, really looking at how Tom Brady's going to be able to, chase that 7th ring, that's going to be fantastic. And you know what? He might even come back next year too, right? And then he's going to try and chase an 8th ring if he ends up winning on Sunday. So with that said, I mean, it's just fascinating to see Tom Brady back at it once again, year in and year out. And he's just so dominant, and it's just so fascinating to see him, at age 43, be able to have the level of success he has had. and just be that good for that long. It's just something that you don't see from NFL quarterbacks. You don't see quarterbacks of his age succeed in their late in their late 30s, early 40s. I mean, look at a guy like an NFL legend, a top 5, 6 quarterback of all time, Drew Brees. Look at what he was able to do in the past 3 or 4 years. I mean, he was consistently a playoff quarterback, but he never got that team far in the playoffs. Brady is a different story, and going for 7 championships is something that is unprecedented. I don't think any other quarterback in the next 10, 15, 25 years will even have a shot at it. Maybe Mahomes has that shot, but nonetheless, I mean, 7 championships, going for 7, even having a shot at 7 is absolutely ludicrous. And the last storyline I want to look at quickly, I already referenced it, but the young GOAT versus the old GOAT, and it's Mahomes versus Brady. You've got the new dynasty, you've got the old dynasty. Who will win? Obviously, these two teams played earlier this season, and the Chiefs won that game, right? They won that game. Tyreek Hill had a huge game. That's going to be something to watch, too, in this game. How was Tyreek Hill going to affect this game? How are the Bucs going to be able to clamp down on a guy like Tyreek Hill? How are they going to make sure that he's not going to, have 200 passing yards in that first quarter? But more importantly, the real storyline I want to watch is Brady versus Mahomes, right? Out of all the quarterback matchups that I wanted to see, I think this one is the most fascinating. I think Rodgers and Mahomes would have been fascinating, but Brady, who is the all-time great, great quarterback who's won 6 Super Bowls, been to 9, and he, obviously led a dynasty for 10, 15 years, and now Mahomes is that next guy. He's that next face of the NFL. Brady was that face of the NFL for 10, 15 years. Mahomes is the next face of the NFL for the next 10, 15 years. So it's really interesting passing the torch from the old to the new. Who's going to win? Mahomes, Brady. And I think, Mahomes needs this one. I think for really him to have a chance to even try and get close to Brady in any regard down the stretch, in 10, 15 years when Mahomes has won 6 Super Bowls, and we're like, who was better, Mahomes or Brady? If Mahomes wins this game against Brady, that's definitely going to be a talking point in 10 or 15 years. So watch out for that matchup between Mahomes and Brady. It's going to be something interesting to watch down the stretch. And with that said, that's pretty much going to end the video for today. Did you agree with my analysis? Why or why not? Leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if you're new around here, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. I'd really appreciate that. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, see ya.